All right, Sunday, December 17, 2023. Welcome again to another episode of Scorecard. My name is Gabi Offend. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Benjamin Iketia. It's been a very interesting weekend, a very exciting one, of course, because huge Ghanaian interest. Mohamed Kudus was on target today against Wolves in the English Premier League, a brace for him. We'll get to touch on Jeffrey Schlupp, who was also in action in the English Premier League. There's a Ghana Premier League to delve into. Boxing is on the list. Sena Agbeko, he lost to David Morrell Jr. The Italian Serie A, Napoli, Victor Osimhen back to the scoring sheet after claiming the CAF Best Men's Player of the Year at the award that was held in Marrakesh. So I think it's been a very big weekend, a very good one. I've got a lot of the highlights for you right here on Citi. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and then we'll get into the talking. All right, so welcome back. My name again is Gabi Offer, and this is Scorecard, sitting in for your regular host, Benjamin Nketia. I've got two good friends here. First off, there's Coach Christopher Nimley, who is in, are you still in your birthday mood?
Yeah, most likely. Once the birthday was on the Friday, you want to enjoy the Friday, enjoy the Saturday, and most likely enjoy the Sunday as well. Because don't forget, it was not only my birthday, it was also the birthday
so that's a double
my beautiful
dose.
wife. So double dose of everything.
Okay, there is also Edwin Kwakofi. You are with me today in studio. We witnessed good stuff. But how's the weekend been, though?
Well, mixed bag. Yesterday I got to spend the day with a very good friend. I had a good time.
Oh, good friend, you mean?
Yes, good friend. And I kept a very good friend.
Do you want to give us more details?
No, that's it.
Just good friend.
That's all our watchers want to hear about. And today I kept an eye out on the Premier League matches. It was a very good weekend for football, and I enjoyed it very much.
Well, we'll get to touch on some other things, especially that has dominated the headlines. Just some few hours. It was Mohamed Kudus. We'll get to touch on that in a bit. But let's start with boxing today, because it was Sena Agbeko. He came up against David Morrell Jr., a shot at the world title. It didn't end too good for him. Let's check out the highlights when we come back, and then we'll touch on that. All right, so that's Sena Agbeko, his third loss in his professional boxing career. Coach, I mean, it didn't end too good for the Ghanaian.
Boy, look. Boxing, take it or leave it, I believe is the sports that has taken Ghana to the different level. Because we've had world champions in Azuma, Nelson, and Ikwoti and Co. So anytime I see a Ghanaian go out there to fight for a world title, I have that belief that within our DNA, we are more than capable of rescuing it. If you look at the manner in which the young man got beat, I was a bit disappointed, because if you're on the ropes and you are being hit like that, you should at least find a way of clinching your opponent.
Yeah.
Something must be done to slow him down. You don't only go protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Because once you protect yourself, one good punch to your waist means you're going to drop your jab. Once it drops, your face is exposed. And if you look at that, that was exactly what happened. I don't know what the corners were telling him at the time, because most often that is where it matters most. As a coach or as a trainer, when your boxer is in difficult movement, you predetermine what he is to do before you go into the fight. But if you look at that knockout, or you look at the referee had to step in to stop the fight. I hate it when referee comes in to stop fight.
Yeah.
Because I believe that it means that the opponent or the one who is being punished can do something about it and change the script completely. But when you get knocked down, then it is clear that you couldn't. So for the referee to have stepped in, it means is either due to the punishment, the Ghanaian has gone dead mentally. So he didn't know exactly what to do
next.
And the moment you find yourself in that situation, you get beat, and you get beat mercilessly. So for me, I was very disappointed, because it is not easy making your way through the ranks all the way to get a shot. That is why if you get there and you have to lose, if you lose creditably, what I mean by creditably, take the champion all the way to 12th
You give a
round.
decent account of
A
yourself.
decent account of yourself. If you were to lose, let the judges decide that you lost the fight. If it is that close, your corners can go out there and argue and debate and get you a rematch.
Yeah.
But when you are dealt with in this manner, clearly you go back and start all over again. And that is where, if the motivation is not there, if the proper orientation is not there to get you to understand that this is the nature of the sport, that was a one-off, and therefore you can always organize yourself and come back. It becomes difficult to get another shot at the world title. For this young man, I'm a bit disappointed because I know that he could have done something proper. But hey, it clearly tells me that maybe they didn't rehearse what he
prepare him
needed
well
to
enough.
do.
Yeah.
Because you see, when you're going to a world title fight, such things are to be anticipated. Because at that level, one punch, just one punch, can unsettle you.
Yeah.
When you remember, I've forgotten the boxer, our immediate world champion, the one after beating was dancing, the one the president gave the car to, the Gambo.
What's his name? Samuel Tichy?
No, not Samuel Tichy. The one who fought Lomachenko and got beat.
Oh, okay.
I've forgotten his name.
Agbeko.
No, not Agbeko. I've forgotten his name.
Okay.
When he lost against Lopez,
Yeah.
boom, he went down. Naturally, he should have stayed there.
Call me.
Richard
Richard
Comey.
Comey.
Okay.
He should have stayed there. But just then, the moment he went down, he stood up. When you do that, you are done. And no wonder the referee had to stop the fight because he did that. If you refer your mind, just a quick, then my last point. When Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder in the first fight, in the 12th round, Deontay knocked him down. Fury went flat on his back. But this is a boxer who has been taught the rudiment of how to handle it when you are under that pressure. He stayed there until the referee started the counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the 6th count, then he stood up.
Yeah.
At least he has given himself some time to bring back his conscience and bring back
Readjust.
He's a bit stable now,
a
yeah.
bit stable. So and then Deontay was shocked. And when he stood up, for somebody who had just been knocked down, he rather started, because we're in the 12th round, just some 20, 25 seconds more. I can see this through.
Yeah.
So look, it's a clear indication that he was not prepared for moments like that. And these are the moments that win you the world title or that get you to lose the world title.
I mean, Edwin, so what, second round, the fight had to be stopped in, what, 1:43 seconds?
In the second round.
Yes. I mean, how does it take off? Picks up from here?
I had very high hopes for Sena Agbeko. I still do. I think he's a wonderful fighter. But I think in recent times, he's been struggling to keep up with the intensity of other fighters. And I think Coach is right. The preparation also matters.
Yeah.
If you look at Morrell's recent fights, you can tell that he's a boxer who comes out of the gate really strongly. First round, second round, he tries to go for the knockout. He's already got one knockout, and this is his second one. He was obviously going to go hard at Sena Agbeko. And it was important for Agbeko to keep himself in the fight as long as possible. It wasn't about matching him for intensity. Once you try to do that, you basically lose out on your own strategy. You've come in with the proper strategy. Once you try to match up with your opponent, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
All he had to do was keep up with him, try and defend as much as possible, keep his hands up. But at a point, he couldn't. And strong barrage of punches, and he was down for the count. I think his team needs to look at the videos of his last few fights and see that there's a particular trend going. He can't match up in terms of intensity. I don't know if it's the training ahead of fights. I don't know if it's the preparation. I don't know if he's a little complacent or he doesn't study his opponents before these bouts. Studying your opponents is very important. You need to know who exactly you are facing, what exactly they bring to the table. But it wasn't the best of results, but I still have high hopes for him. I think that in the last few years, he's been one of our more impressive fighters.
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult to get back to a position where you can contend again. But if there's anyone who I feel can do it, I think it's him.
Well, wish him all the best in what next for him. But let's touch on the Ghana Premier League. We'll take you to the Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex, and it was Nations FC taking on Accra Hearts of Oak. Nations FC before this game, before the 1-0 draw against Haswell on a 4-game winning streak, winning at home and an away, but that game had to end in a 1-0 draw. Let's check out the highlights. All right, Charlie, so Richmond are here again. I seriously don't know what to say. But Hamza Issa, with that first goal for Accra Hearts of Oak, his 6th goal of the season, then again, he had to go down to goalkeeping error. Coach.
Look, keepers will make mistakes, okay? But when it comes to Richmond I, the type of mistakes he's making, look, are too elementary, too kindergarten, unacceptable. For a Hearts of Oak goalkeeper, it is sad. Look, he's obviously not the best keeper in the team. I have done some checks, and I don't know the whereabouts of
Eric Entry.
Yeah. Some very close friends of mine visited Hearts of Oak when they played Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And I was told from a reliable source that Hearts of Oak has only 2 goalkeepers functional at the moment. That is the overbloated Richard Atta and this very shambolic Richmond I. You ask yourself, a team of the stature of Hearts of Oak should never be going through such problems if the managers of the team are up and doing, and they are indeed modern. I believe Elijah Kampi is a cake. I believe So Odote is a cake. I believe that Dr. Nyautamago, with all his experience, is done. Because I don't understand why a player signs a professional contract, and one of the responsibility of a player on the payroll of the team is to maintain his shape.
Yeah, you're unable to take
copies. Look, I've got copies of contract that players of Hearts of Oak have signed, and that clause is clearly stated in there. So, like I said here last week, I don't understand why Richard Atta is on the payroll of Hearts of Oak. His stomach is too big, and I repeat myself, he cannot dive, he cannot jump, he cannot kick, he cannot run. So he must, his contract terminated immediately. Go get whatever the problem is with Alawa should be fixed. Because Alawa clearly, one time national goalkeeper.
I mean, when he came in from Lagos Cities, he was starting games.
It is clear
he was starting games. I mean, he came to take the #1 sports role.
There is an issue, or there are issues. But if you love Hearts of Oak, and you think Hearts of Oak, and you respect the fact that somebody is investing in this team week in, week out, whatever the issues are when it comes to the goalkeeping department, immediately without delay, it needs, because look, these things, it will not stop. For as long as Richmond I turns around and he sees Richard Atta, fat Richard Atta, big Richard Atta, big stomach Richard Atta, as the one competing with him, he will do the sort of things he's doing. Because how on earth could you just allow this ball to pass through your legs like that? I would have controlled that ball and passed. There was no punch.
You'd have given a cool pass.
No, but anybody at all will control the ball. Look, my juvenile players, my goalkeeper, juvenile goalkeeper wouldn't even attempt to make. Because look at the ball that went past.
And you look at the strike from Richard Dunn.
It lacks power.
It's not like there's so much power behind it.
It is a control and touch. A goalkeeper would have just started and teased the opponent. 94th minute. Eventually, he had to go around apologizing to the supporters. Eventually, he had to I've seen videos of him begging the Hearts of Oak supporters. Look, Hearts of Oak is not run in that manner. Hearts of Oak it's not run in that manner. But I don't blame the young man. Who are those doing the recruitment for this team? It's
Big question.
Kampi,
Yeah.
Honorable Odote. It's been a while since I heard Opari speak. Is he still with them?
Opari speaks. I mean, he has people he speaks with. He's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see, if you do things like this, you will get relegated. I have said that if they don't put an end to this sort of performance, they are bound for relegation. And I will be so happy because we were told that nobody can run this thing better. In 14 years, under Toby Afede, the great king, infrastructure-wise, he's doing something that I have never seen of Asafo before. But on the field of play, his regime is the worst when it comes to Asafo on the pitch. This team could win the league with ease. This team could go to Africa and compete. Play an unbeaten run in winning the Champions League of Africa. What has gone wrong? The same people are there doing the same thing over and over. You expect different result. Look, read my lips and watch this show again. It will get worse and worse and worse. Okay. Because if they don't change their way of doing things. As for the football, I'm not going to waste time to comment. The football is bad. The football is very bad. The coaching has never been up to standard. You don't see any progression in whatever they are being taught. When you see House of Oak plays today, next week it is worse. The following week, it is hanging in the air, being slapped by the ordinary air, left, right, center. Not having a perfect ground to build upon. No foundation. How do you run House of Oak like that? It's sad. It's very, very sad. And look, everybody who is a House of Oak supporter, you should never be happy with this.
Well, I'm not sure the House of Folk fans will be too excited about that performance at the Dr. Kwame Chase Sports Complex. They actually yet to name a substantive coach after letting go of Martinez Koopman. They say that Abdurrahim Bashiru is taking charge for the interim. So let's see how they fare. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into the English Premier League. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. Welcome back. My name is Gabi Ofen. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. I'm doing this with Coach Christopher Nimley and also Edwin Kwakofi. Let's get to the English Premier League. It was March week 17. It started on Friday. Tottenham back to winning ways. Richarlison back-to-back goals. Dejan Kulusevski was also on the score sheet for Ange Postecoglou's side. Let's check out the highlights. When we come back, we'll get into the analysis of that game. All right, 2 wins on a bounce for Tottenham Hotspurs, but I'm not too sure Ange Postecoglou will be too excited with that red card handed to Yves Bissouma. Second red card of the season. Yeah,
I don't think he'll be very happy either. He's just got his midfield duo back together after a few games out. He still has a few players out with injury, but he seemed to have been getting the rhythm of this Spurs team back. So losing Bissouma again for 3 straight games because it was a straight red card, it might hurt his team. But what he wanted from this game was consistency, a continuation from that performance from Newcastle, because recently Spurs have been going through it a bit, good one weekend, not so good the next weekend. So it was important for them to maintain that consistency in this game, and it did so in performance, especially in the first half, and in the results, obviously. I think that Dejan Kulusevski was a major part of that. Obviously, he created the first goal. He scored the second. I think it's down to a change in formation. Kulusevski usually plays out on the right-hand side. These days, he's been playing through the middle, allowing Richarlison to play up front, Son on the left, and Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side. Him playing in the midfield in the number 10 position is helping out a lot because he's a very good passer of the ball. When he receives the ball, he's able to drive forward and beat players. And because of that, he is drawing a lot more defenders to him, allowing players like Son and Brennan Johnson to have freedom to operate down the sides. And it's helping Spurs a lot. But Nottingham Forest will have to have a word with that goalkeeper. I think the second goal was gifting the ball away from the pass was bad enough. Not being able to save that shot, regardless of the power Kulusevski put in, that was unacceptable. And I think that it's unfortunate for a manager like Steve Cooper, who seemed to be doing well with the squad earlier on in the season. Now he's finding wins difficult to come by. And when you're having teams like Luton getting some good results, Everton obviously flying up the table, and the teams at the bottom starting to get some points on the board, you see yourself being drawn into a relegation battle sooner or later. And I feel that with the way Nottingham Forest play, they are too good to be drawn into a battle, but the results aren't going their way. Sometimes it's because the decisions aren't going their way. Sometimes the performances aren't good enough, but they need to find a solution because things don't seem to be improving anytime soon.
Well, more pressure on Steve Cooper's Nottingham Forest. But let's get to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City were looking to make it back-to-back wins after beating Luton Town by 2-1. They started brightly, but that late collapse, Pep Guardiola looking very dejected after the second goal from Michael Olise was through a penalty. Let's check out the highlight when we come back. There's more on that for you. All right, Jean-Philippe Mateta and Michael Olise. Jeffrey Schlupp got in the act. He got an assist in that game. That ended 2-0 at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City dropping points again. Coach, what are we cooking today on the tactical board?
Yeah, so there were 4 goals in that game, 2 apiece. But my interest is that Jeffrey Schlupp contribution to Palace's first goal.
Okay.
The goal that I believe got them to believe that they could get something out of this if they were to push a bit harder. So I'm going to roll the goal and let it go, and then I will start it all over again. That's right. At this stage, you wouldn't see the importance of what Jeffrey Schlupp did.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm not getting exactly what I wanted to talk about, but all the same, I will look at it. This is one of the reasons why the Ghanaian will have to be included into the Black Stars. I've always said that. Try and put aside your ego. There was a moment I really wanted to highlight, but this highlight is not given. It's about the movement. You see? Of Schlupp.
Okay.
Leading to that goal. What actually happened was that Man City had a very high line, and the high line meant that the likes of Alvarez, the likes of Phil Foden and co. should have gone to put some form of press on the Crystal Palace defenders. Okay. There was nobody pressing the ball. Jeffrey Schlupp started his movement from an offside position. He started the move from an offside position, which unfortunately we are not able to see here. But again, because he knew exactly what he had to do, look at what happened. When he got the pass and he took on Neves, the Portuguese centre-back. Let's pause it there.
You mean Ruben Diaz?
Ruben Diaz, sorry. You can clearly see him putting himself in between Neves and the ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
That made sure that Neves had no impact whatsoever on the ball. Any rough tackle by Neves will result in a penalty kick. So this is an indication to every forward. When there's a strict 1v1 situation and you're on the move and you are in control of the ball, make sure your body is in between the ball and your opponent, with the ball being on your favorable side where you can control and dictate the pace of it. And look at Jeffrey Schlupp. He clearly understood that he was not doing this alone. He was actually moving along with Mateta. Just want to highlight Mateta a bit. This is Mateta.
Yeah.
Mateta had Nathaniel Ake with him. So it was a clear indication that who will get to the ball first. Ake knew that he had to at least get across this way.
Because you realize that Ake is also paying attention.
He's also paying attention.
Schlupp,
he's observing exactly what is happening here. So he knew that he had to get across Mateta. But we all know Mateta. He's big. He's strong. Again, what Mateta actually did was to hold him up and then back. You see, you could clearly see his hand all over Ake, not allowing Ake to get to the ball. The credit must be given to Jeffrey Schlupp. Like I said, although we are not seeing his initial movement that played him onside, once he got control of the ball, he had his body in between Ruben Neves, the Portuguese centre-back, and the ball meant that he was in total control. Neves, having realized that, could not have dived into any form of tackle. And that meant that if Jeffrey Schlupp could pick the ball deliciously in between the goalkeeper of Man City and the centre-back, Nathan Ake, who was, let me say, a bit manhandled. Not in a foul manner, but in terms of strength.
Yeah, he was being bullied by
bigger,
Mateta.
stronger, and that was it. So once Crystal Palace got this, they knew they could get something out of it. Don't forget, I think about some 2-3 seasons ago, they beat Man City here.
Yeah, true.
They've beaten them.
Andros Townsend, I remember that goal.
That terrific
Andros
non-drop
Townsend,
strike eventually got them to get a result against Man City. So Man City knew of the history between Day and Palace at the Etihad. And like the commentator rightly said, this is the third time in a row at home where they've allowed a lead to slip. Does it mean that they are a bit fatigued mentally, or it is what it is?
Lack of motivation, Edwin. I've listened to several commentaries after the 2-0 draw, and people are, so there's a section that is saying that let's not write off Manchester City. There's a section that is also saying that City are demotivated a bit after going with that treble last season. But let's talk about the late collapse. Look at the penalty that came in.
Well, the whole sequence for that penalty was very unlike Manchester City. And first of all, Bernardo Silva, you'd expect him to have better control, better sense of where he was and who was around him. He gave away the ball pretty badly there. And then there was Foden, who should have as well have better awareness of where he was. Decided to kick out without looking around.
So Foden on defensive duties now.
Yeah, Foden on
the
defensive. It was weird to see, but that is why attackers are often found suspect when they are in such positions. But I'd like to give credit to Mateta for once. When the ball went out to Bernardo Silva, he was right in the box and decided to chase after the ball. He could have let it go and said, I'm not getting to that ball.
Yeah, that's true.
He decided to chase after it, and that is when Bernardo Silva lost the ball. So there's this belief in Crystal Palace that they can get at teams. They can go after balls. There's nothing lost at any point in the game. But you mentioned City's late collapses in recent games. It's been a feature of their season throughout. I don't think it's a recent thing. I think throughout the season, there have been moments where City control the game. They get a couple of goals ahead. They get one goal ahead. But then they lose focus in the last few minutes of the game. It's happened at Liverpool, happened at Chelsea, against Chelsea, happened against Tottenham Hotspur. But I think in recent weeks or recent games, they are not able to keep up that winning formula. And that is why we are starting to notice these late collapses much more. In previous games, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Brighton, they got away with the win. So no one really minded that they were collapsing late in games. In these recent games that I mentioned earlier, they are coming out of it with losses, coming out of it with draws. So people are beginning to take notice of the fact that when City go ahead, there's this nervousness that spreads across the back line especially. There's a lack of focus. As you mentioned, it could be the fact that they're a little complacent now that they've won the treble, or teams are starting to find them out. Teams are starting to notice that this City team is attacking in phases. They are really good for 20 minutes, 30-minute phases, but then there are moments where they lose focus, they lose concentration, and that is where you get at them. Crystal Palace took this opportunity. A few other teams have. They've managed to get points. But I see City recovering very strongly. You can't count them out. It's around this...
You think that they will go on...
It's around this stage of the
World Club Championship.
Club Championship.
They've got that to deal with.
And help them refocus. It's around this time of year that they go on a really good run, sometimes 10, sometimes 13. I don't even think 10 or 13 is something that they need to do. 5 games, 6-game run, and they are in with a shout, because the consistency from the other teams is not as good as it used to be. Arsenal are not very consistent. They are picking up wins, but they are losing quite a bit too. Liverpool, not very consistent. Winning games, but they are games where they should have won, they are drawing. Aston Villa are the dark horses who are starting to come up there. But all of the big teams are struggling to maintain consistent results. So I feel that if City go on a 5-6 game run, they'll be right up there. So you can't really count out Manchester City just yet.
All right, so let's not write City off the Premier League title race. We'll see how they fare after they returned from Saudi Arabia from that FIFA Club World Cup. They are playing Uwara Red Diamonds from Japan. So let's see. But let's get to two other London clubs. First off, we start with Chelsea. They beat Sheffield United by 2-0. It was Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer. And then Arsenal also beat Brighton by 2-0. So let's start with the Chelsea highlight first. All right, Kai Havertz doing big things for the Gunners. That's Edwin's favorite man. And it was Nicholas Jackson. He grabbed his 7th goal of the season. 7 goal, 1 assist in 16 games. I mean, Edwin, he's not doing bad.
Oh, yeah, he's not doing bad. The numbers show that he's actually...
the numbers show that he's performing.
No, the numbers show that he's doing his primary job, which is putting the ball at the back of the net. Of course, he's had so many chances that you'd expect much more from him. Unfortunately, he's missed a few. Obviously, it's affected the team's performances. The whole squad wasn't performing well, so a lot more focus has been on him. But I think if you look purely on the numbers, I think he's done well for his first season in England. On this performance from Chelsea, I thought it was much improved from the one against Everton, very much so. And it was expected because this is Sheffield United.
Yeah, they say it's just Sheffield.
No, it can't be just Sheffield. Obviously, they are not as big as the other teams in the Premier League. But this is still
a team that's considered, what, 41 goals?
41 before the weekend, which was the highest in all 5 leagues in England. But they can still be a dangerous side, as teams like Manchester City have seen. That if you are not careful, you might struggle against this team. And it looked like being a struggle for Chelsea, especially in the first half.
Because the first half was woeful.
Yes, they had a lot of the ball, but they couldn't penetrate because a lot of their players weren't getting space. You had Sterling, who was being doubled up on the right-hand side. Then you had Cole Palmer, who was being doubled up on in that number 10 position. But I think there was a really good change from Mauricio Pochettino in the second half. Allowed Sterling to join Nicholas Jackson up front, which meant it freed one player for Cole Palmer, who would usually be on Cole Palmer. Freed up that number 10 spot, allowed him to get more on the ball, and allowed him more space to pick up the passes. And obviously, one of his passes led to the first goal, very involved in the second goal as well. And he was dangerous throughout that second half, very improved performance. And I think he and Sterling in particular will be very important for Chelsea going forward. Once they keep up this level of performance, it helps everyone in the team get better. Once they keep up the goal scoring, the assist, the beating players, the good passing, every single Chelsea player just falls on those two players if they perform well. I think that Pochettino was very happy with how the second half went. His in-game management was very impressive as well. Good for Nicholas Jackson to get a goal. Nkunku saw the bench, didn't see some minutes on the pitch, but it allows him more time to rest, more time to improve his fitness. And if Chelsea can keep up this good run, they have a few good games coming up. If they can keep up this form, it only speaks well of them going in terms of that run for the European spots going forward this season.
Okay, well, one other man who was on fire for Arsenal is a former Chelsea man, Kai Havertz. Peter Bosz, that's PSV Eindhoven head coach, said something really interesting after that Champions League clash with Arsenal. And he said that Mikel Arteta should redefine Havertz's role in the team. And look at where he was being played today. That was more of like your 10, sort of.
Yeah. I think, look, Arsenal needed to do a professional job because the new Man City had dropped point. The new Aston Villa were playing simultaneously as them. And the new Liverpool were to be involved in the biggest game in the calendar. Psychologically, Arsenal knew that Man United would not go to Anfield and accept to get beat another 7-0. They will definitely go there having a very strong mentality that, look, last season, we were completely embarrassed here. So Arsenal needed to do their job and do it professionally. Look, if you look at the game against Brighton, Brighton is not a minnows at all. And Roberto De Zerbi, they really will not stop doing what they are doing. And the question is, what at all are they doing? They believe that they can pass you into submission. So let's go at it. But I really did enjoy exactly what Mikel Arteta did. Arteta respected the fact that Arsenal was also playing against a footballing team, a team that believes in dominating the round object. So he needed to be smart tactically.
Likes to have the ball at your feet.
So you needed to time the press, and once the press is triggered, every anticipated possible passing outlet of Brighton needed to be blocked. And Arsenal, in my view, did that wonderfully today. The manner in which they restricted Brighton, especially in that first half, throughout the entire 90 minutes, I think Brighton were able to construct one beautiful move that Pascal Gross, at the time it was 1-0. If he had put that away, it would have been 1-1.
It's the third minute, I believe.
Exactly, and the dynamics would have changed completely. But once they didn't do that, Arsenal then realized that they needed that cushion of a goal. Therefore, in doing so, he made sure that Declan Rice was always in the right position, right in front of the back four, sweeping up every danger. And because, look, there's something beautiful about Rice. When he wins the ball, he doesn't need to see the pass. All he needs to see is the void in front of him. He's so good at progressing the ball and teasing the opponent onto himself, creating spaces for his attackers and picking the right pass. And I think that he's proven, in my view, to be the buy of the season.
Okay.
Because the manner in which he's changed the Arsenal dynamics in terms of being stable, when do I pass, when do I take up the mantle to progress the ball myself, to bring my other players into it, is absolutely superb. And that second goal by Kai Havertz, whom you've highlighted as whose role is being redefined, it is looking like in the game that Arteta feels they are capable of winning. He goes with only Declan Rice and then play two number 10s in Kai Havertz and Odegaard. Odegaard is very, very mobile. He is more technically gifted on the ball than Kai Havertz. So once Odegaard drops, Kai Havertz then fill in the void in supporting the striker. And if you look at that second goal from Declan Rice to Nketiah saw the move into Havertz. All he needed to do was to control the ball, raise his head, look at the goalkeeper, and pick his spot. And for me, he can only continue in this manner, building his belief and his confidence. Because look, the manager spent how much? 65 million pounds on him. He will have to find a way to get him to succeed, or else the owners will come for Mikel Arteta. And so far, so very good. He's scoring important and very important goals for Arsenal.
All right, big stuff from Kai Havertz. And speaking of players doing big stuff and doing big things for their team, is the latest hammer, the hottest hammer. That's West Ham United's Mohamed Kudus. He was on target today. A brace against Wolves, taking his tally to 9 goals in our competitions, 5 in the Premier League, 4 in the Europa. Let's check out the highlights. When we come back, Coach has more on that. Lucas Paquetá and Mohamed Kudus, Charlie, I love the bromance. Brazil and Ghana. Charlie, Coach, what's on the tactical?
Look, it's always beautiful. It's always beautiful when you get a chance to talk about your countryman. You understand? And highlight how good he is as a player. So before I tactically analyze this, we just watched it though, but we'll take it one at a time. This is the beginning of the first goal.
This is the first goal.
Then go there. Everybody pause here. Look at this moment, Kudus is not watching the ball. He's not watching the ball because he clearly believes that Paquetá has the ability. He has the ability to pick him up. Watch him. His head is down.
Yeah.
And look at what he's doing. He clearly understands the gap between the two centre-backs of Wolverhampton. So let me just attack the play. Paquetá takes the ball further left and gives a diagonal into the path of Mohamed Kudus. So the diagonal goes. Now Kudus is in absolute control here. Let's pause it. Could Semedo have done better? If I'm the coach of Wolverhampton, I'm analyzing this, he could have done better. On this particular goal, look at the number of Wolverhampton players coming into the picture. 1, 2. He needed to delay Kudus.
Okay.
How do you delay Kudus? Is to force him onto what? His unfavorable foot.
Yeah.
If you look at Kudus's body posture, everybody knows he's a left-footed player.
Yeah, so he's looking to cut in.
So he's looking to come onto that left foot. And because these guys were coming, all Semedo needed to do here was to make sure he pushed Kudus further right.
Okay.
He didn't do that. He allowed, the moment he cut across him, that meant that the two Wolverhampton players in full court, as you can see here, were now behind, no, they were now in front of the ball, not being, so they were completely worthless. They wouldn't have anything to say about what Kudus would do. And look at the ability of the Ghanaian. The goalkeeper at this moment thought that once he moved onto the left post, he was going far left. Or he was going for the far post.
Yeah.
But tactically, he is that good. He's got the ability to pick the pass, he's got the ability to strike the ball, and he's got the ability to pick his spot and go for power. This is the diagonal I was talking about from Paqueta. Look at it again. He won. Semedo should have pushed him far, but somebody may argue that the goalkeeper could have done a bit better. Because in terms of the gap, that was close to 20, 25 yards. Maybe he should have made a save. But hey, I'm happy. I'm a Ghanaian. If I see my Ghanaian brother out there doing such wonderful things, I will like it all day. And therefore, that was how Mohamed Kudus registered his first goal. Again, it had to do with the huge gap in the Wolverhampton defenders. Now, let's go to the second goal. Kudus 2. It looked very similar. Very, very similar. Watch. Wolverhampton in possession of the ball here. Now they rolled it. This is Semedo. He tried to pick the pass.
Yeah.
Zuma intercepts. The moment Zuma intercepts, he knows he's not a good passer of the ball. He knows once there's Paqueta, there's Kudus ahead of me. I have done my job.
Yeah, just find Paqueta.
Paqueta, take it, and let's see what happens as a result of that. Now he passes the ball on to Paqueta. Everybody watch again. This again is the same thing I spoke about. I will roll it slightly and I'll pause it immediately. Here, look at the gap between the Wolverhampton tuba. This gap to pick the pass here, it's too huge a gap. Last week I spoke about the two center backs or the back four or back three not being more than 10 yards apart. Look at the distance between these two. If you were to complete that triangle, absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unacceptable.
So leaving too many spaces
Too
behind.
many. The spaces are too huge. And at this level, if you leave a Brazilian international, Paqueta, to pick such a very routine, simple pass,
Cheeky ease.
he would do it with cheeky ease all day. Kudus clearly understand that Paqueta has got the ability. Again, I will pause it and then let me roll it back a little bit. Watch. When Zuma picks up the ball here and gives it to what? Paqueta. Paqueta controls the ball and Kudus is always on the move. You see? Sorry. When he picks up the ball, Kudus again didn't look. Watch. Zuma intercepts the ball. He gives it to Paqueta. Watch the Ghanaian. Boom, he's going.
Yeah,
he's not even looking.
Yeah.
Because he's seen the gap. He's seen that huge gap between the back three of Wolverhampton. So let me attack them. Now this time around, the centre back of Wolverhampton did so well. He virtually prevented Kudus from cutting onto his left foot. So one would have said that, look, once he's got onto his unfavorable foot, he's given the goalkeeper a chance. But look at the intelligence of the Ghanaian. He knew that any level, any height given to the ball welcomes the goalkeeper to make it safe. So let me put it down, carpet grades. Watch. You see that the goalkeeper makes a move. The moment he moves,
then
that
hits
foot
with
which he moves, you cannot do this and do this at the same time.
That's true.
So the moment you move there, he places the ball there. And that is absolutely wonderful. Look, my point here is very simple. In the Black Stars, unfortunately for Ghanaians, Mohamed Kudus will be the one in the Paqueta
role. Rather distributing the passes, not at the receiving
end. He
end.
will be picking the ball from, let's say, a party or from, let's say, a Baba Idris. He will be picking that ball. So he will not be advanced like we see him very advanced in the West Ham setup.
Okay.
You will have the likes of Inaki Williams and Cole that advanced. If Kudus was Paqueta, would he have picked the pass?
No.
We're talking about it offset.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have done that. He would have dwelled on the ball. He would have taken the first touch, second touch, third touch.
And hold on to the ball.
Overly touch the ball, you are giving the opponent the opportunity to recover their shape and form a defensive block. So if Chris Hughton and the people are watching, maybe, this is what some of us have been calling for. We're talking about it offset. And I think that the other Ghanaian player who could be playing like Paqueta for Kudus to move high up the pitch, if you know Kudu Asamoah, you go, but he's no longer playing.
That's
so the only Ghanaian player who should be doing that is Alfred Duncan. Somebody who touches the ball only twice. Watch Duncan play in the Italian Serie A. He never dwells on the ball. He picks it up, he passes it along. So if we can have somebody in that Paqueta's role and Kudus high up the pitch for a player or for a national team that is struggling for goals, you want to, with the form this man is carrying, that hopefully he will bring into the AFCON, it will be better when you keep him high up the pitch. So get correct passes of the ball, who can get the ball to him as quickly as possible, and we can only benefit as a national team in the AFCON, because we need to go to Cote d'Ivoire and make a very brilliant impact there. So kudos to Mohamed Kudus. Look, we are all proud of the young man, isn't it? He's making all of us very, very proud.
And if you see his trademark celebration now,
Yeah.
we should probably get an advertising hoarding here. So when you're starting the show, we can just do what he's been doing.
Just sits there.
Yeah, I mean, big stuff. And his Paqueta is also joining the group.
Yeah, of course, you have to. You have to. You remember when Asamoah was there and he was doing the former Dutch international Zenden. You don't have an option. You have to join in the party. You have to join in the party. So that's it.
Well, so that's West Ham's Mohamed Kudus doing big things in the English Premier League. We like it. You should see all the foreign tabloids writing about him. Great start from him. A very good start to life at West Ham United. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll touch on the Italian Serie A and the Spanish La Liga. It's always an interactive show, so you can send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp text lines, just what you think of Kudus' performance and everything that we've touched on so far. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Gabi Ofe. I'm doing this with Coach Christopher Nimili and Edwin Kwakofi. We take a quick break. Don't change your dial. All right, so welcome back. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Gabi Ofe. I'm here with my very good friends, Coach Christopher Nimili and Edwin Kwakofi. We just finished off with the Mohamed Kudus brilliance today against Wolves. Hopefully the Black Stars technical team watching and can actually pick up some good points into the Black Stars. But we've got some messages here. This one says, City Sports is the best. Evans from Spintex. Another one too says, great analysis always. Please, why is Aubameyang? Okay, why is Aubameyang? Aubameyang is with Marseille from Yakubu. This one too says, good evening to you all. In fact, our Ghanaian players are really doing well at their various clubs. Please tell them to do the same when they come to our national team. Also, please tell us, please let them select the players who deserve to play to represent us at the AFCON in Ivory Coast. Hashtag Scorecard from Diane from Nima. This one too says, Charles watching from Guasa says, Sunday nights are always special with Scorecard. What's wrong with Barcelona? We'll get into that in a bit. This one too says, good evening, Gabi and your pundit. Bravo to Eric Ten Hag for mapping up a good tactics to deny Liverpool from humiliating us. In Eric Ten Hag, we trust. Hey, Charlie. Good to see Arsenal back at the top of the lock. Hope to stay there until the season ends. Daniel texting from Cape Coast. Abdul Wadud, student of STU, watching live from Aboa. So why did Chelsea and Man United didn't go for Kudus? Defender Then from Pony says, even though Chelsea is playing poorly, if they should have a potent striker like Haaland, they would have won the league. Okay, please tell Christopher namely to support Christopher Nkunku. Okay. This one says, good evening, Mr. Host. Okay, my name is Gabi Ofe. It says, my prayer is that House of Hosts will go to relegation and Barcelona to there on my team from Belsen, Koforidua Eastern Region. The final message says, Black Stars don't have Paqueta, so we don't see Kudus' potential. The sit-down celebration is just a deep breath. Egbon Yaro from Lakeside in Swan. I hope I got your name right. Okay. You can also send your thoughts on the WhatsApp text lines will be displayed in a bit. But let's get to the Italian Serie A. Napoli, Victor Osimhen, after winning the CAF Best Player of the Year, that award was held in Marrakesh, Morocco. He was back on the pitch doing big things. He got a goal and an assist. But for me, what I like most in that game is that assist. Charlie, you don't do that in the penalty box. Let's get to the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona to check out that highlight. All right, AC Milan, big win for them. Napoli also big win. Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, Victor Osimhen. Coach, quick one. Osimhen, I mean, he's doing big things for Napoli. There's several reports that he has to, Chelsea are looking to get him into the team.
You see, I think he's the best in terms of a striker showing how physical he is and how fightful he is. Look, Napoli as a team, they've always missed him anytime he's not been in the team. And I believe that has contributed to their very undulating form in defending their title. Because it took them 30 years to win back the league. And after 30 years before winning, one would have thought that they would put up a better title defense than they've done so far. It's not been good. They went in for Garcia. We all know. They've sacked him. They brought in Mazzarri, a very experienced coach who understands the way the Italian league is played, a former coach of Inter Milan and stuff like that. So he's beginning to get them to play a bit different. But one thing that I'm in love with is the fact that no matter how indifferent or no matter how you want to do things differently, you should play to the strength of your team. And everybody knows that when it comes to Napoli, their attacking play, you have to go through Victor Osimhen. Because he gives them lots of options on the ground, in the air, forcefully creating spaces when there's none. Look, forget about the goal he scored. That is routine. Putting the ball in his head. That's routine. But the assists, look at the number of players in and around.
That about 4 players.
For him to have controlled the ball twice on his knee, his head, headed the ball into space, and blocked. You could clearly see him do this. You need to be of a certain good body, upper body strength to have done that and create the space for you to give him that assist. It was a fantastic move. And I think that if Osimhen can rediscover his form, bringing Nigeria into the AFCON, look, you have to look at them. If the coach of the Super Eagles can get a proper balance in midfield and get them to defend better in Chukwueze, in Simon, in Osimhen, in the Nottingham Forest guy, the
Taiwo
Awoniyi, you can name them. They will be a handful for any opponent at the AFCON. But for Osimhen, just like I said for Kudus, it is absolutely beautiful to see not only Ghanaians, but our African brothers proving to the world that we've got decent talent that can compete at any level.
So Victor Osimhen, he also making the CAF Best 11 Team of the Year. But Edwin, talk to me about the AC Milan, Monza 3-0.
Look,
big win for Milan.
Yeah, it's a good win for Milan, and it's important that they win this game because Inter have taken such a significant lead that you need to keep up.
Won too.
You need to keep up with them. I think that there are a lot of teams in the list behind Inter who are competing for that top 4 spots. There's AC Milan themselves, there's Juventus, Napoli are starting to discover some form. There's actually Bologna in there. There's Fiorentina, there's Roma as well, even though they lost in the recent game. So if you want to make the top 4 in the Serie A this season, you need to win consistently and you need to win heavy to make a statement to other teams that you can compete, you can be amongst the best. And that was a very good win for AC Milan. Obviously, the signings in the summer have made a huge difference to their team. Pulisic has been really good. Loftus-Cheek has been very impressive. Okafor has been fantastic in that squad. Add them to the old legs in the team. Olivier Giroud in midfield. Yes, Reinders as well. This is a team that can compete in Serie A. Unfortunately, they are in a season where Inter are playing some fantastic football. Attacking-wise, they are scoring for fun. Defending-wise, they are brilliant. They've only conceded 7 goals all season. And when you look at that team as a whole, you find it difficult to compete with them. But it's important that you stay up there with them, as close as possible, so that if that drop in form, if that dip in form comes for Inter, you are there to take advantage. So it was a good win for AC Milan. For Juventus, I'm surprised they were held in that game.
Yeah.
You'd expect them to kick on from where they are going, but they are still in second place, still within striking distance of Inter.
Okay, that's a wrap. But coach, quick thoughts, guys, on the game for today in the English Premier League. Manchester United goalless draw with Liverpool.
Look,
that's the third time they were meeting in a Sunday fixture.
There was no option. Ten Hag couldn't have done anything different. I predicted on Sports Panorama that I will be shocked if I don't see Amrabat and Kobe Menu play together for the first time. He had to do that. I think Man United's biggest disappointment was the fact that, again, McTominay couldn't play as a typical number 10.
Yeah.
I think going forward, it's something Ten Hag should look at. Amrabat, Kobe Menu, and then Bruno Fernandes. Because in these two, the back four, to some extent, well protected. But again, Rafael Varane did remind everybody that if he can stay fit, he's one of the best in the business. On the part of Liverpool, I think they were too anxious. They became so predictable. Salah will come onto his left foot. The boy from
Luis Diaz.
Luis Diaz will always want to come onto his right. There are times where you vary. Left-footed player playing outright, go to the bar line, use your other foot. But they wouldn't do that. And they kept making it so predictable for Man United to deal with. On the whole, United did very well restricting Liverpool to not too clear chances and making sure that, look, they will stay in the game for as long as they can. If, again, Rasmus Hojlund was a bit, because he had the best chance of the game.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. The best chance of the game fell to Manchester United, and you want to credit Alisson. But I think United will be the happy team today.
Talk of that, someone has sent a message, says, Ose United, I'm watching you guys live from Wasai Kropon, from Bathurst. Congratulations to Manchester United. So I think the United fans will look at these results and say, yeah, everybody thought that they were going to be annihilated at the hands of Anfield. But it didn't turn out. So, you predicted that United would be winning,
I predicted
right?
that it would either end in a draw or a slight win for Liverpool.
Okay.
And it ended up that way.
Okay. Well, that's a wrap. United fans should just enjoy. Hopefully they can build on this performance against Liverpool. I did this with Coach Christopher Nimley and Edwin Kwakofi. Guys, many thanks for joining me. My name is Gabi Oferi. Back same time next week with another edition of Scorecard. This is Citi TV. Don't change your dial. Many thanks for choosing us.